Emilio, it's great to have you with me, man. It's been a long time coming for sure. And so I just want to first say that Emilio connected with me about a year ago now, talking about podcasting and stuff. And then, mentioned the book you had, the Born the Risk book. And so I attended that event and everything you had going on when the book launch was. So I'm so grateful that we got to connect. I was grateful to be there, grateful to be part of the whole experience of the book being revealed. And everybody that you had it on a yacht, which was amazing, and a lot of people speaking and stuff, so it was a really good time. And I know you have another one coming up, and we could talk about that later on. But I also want to just say that you are doing the forward in the book for the Life's Checkmark podcast. So it's inspiring journeys beyond life's expected path. There you go. And it's going to be 30 guests, right? And so you're doing the forward for these 30 guests, and the idea is other people to know that they're not alone. They can navigate through life with whatever you and other people have experienced. So I like to dive in there with you. Where are you at today, and what are you most passionate about at the moment?
Amen, my brother. And listen, first and foremost, thank you for having me on your show. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad to report that my Facebook friends are real, right? I mean,
That's
and
right.
we got to meet online and in person, and you are a celebrity in my eyes. And what brought me to you as I'm answering the question about what I'm working on, everyone has a podcast today. At least they're talking about it, the perception. But what got you involved to the podcast? That storyline drew me to you. And I've never heard anyone say that a podcast saved their life and now they're helping others with their message. So I have to say that. Thank you. Thank you for being obedient to the call, right? Listening and being a good steward, because
Mhm.
that's what drew me to you, my brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Awesome. So, Amelia, tell us about yourself first. So, what are you up to?
The Reader's Digest version, as I
Okay.
like to say, you know, I'm I'm a man of faith, and that's I everything for me begins and starts there. But I have to be honest, confession time. It hasn't always been that way, right? I've struggled with addiction, alcohol, and those things as a civilian and as a Marine veteran. So if you know anything about the Marine Corps, uh, it's gung ho, hoorah, hoorah. You work hard, you play hard, and it was easy for someone with my personality to be drawn into a culture of warriors. And we went here, we attacked the hill, we do all of that, and it's an interesting lifestyle. So the stories that you hear about Marines going out and drinking, while not everyone is a part of that lifestyle, it is encouraged. It's encouraged to go out and release and drink. And I went into the Marine Corps at 26, so a little older than most 18 years old, right? So by the time I got in, Jonathan, most people were already, they had already exited having some kids. And so it was a challenge for me.
Yeah. And so, what was that kind of challenge? Is it just because you're older?
Yeah, so I went in and I tell this to my young men and women that are joining the military. Don't join the military uh, if you have ideas of how the military should be. Like if you think you're gonna go and change the culture, you know, it's about conforming and it's about following orders and it's about the discipline. So at 26, I was still soul searching for that kind of stuff. So I already had my own ideas about life. I already had a son and a daughter. And so separating them, that was one of my biggest challenges because I had already gone through some experiences of life. Life hit me down. I made a lot of poor choices, and the military just seems to be that exit, that lifesaver for me. Um, but as the saying goes, Jonathan, wherever you go, there you are. Meaning, like my personality, it's called a geographical cure for those who've been involved in the rooms of AA and AA. I went ahead and I thought, wait, I'm going to join the Marine Corps. I'm going to travel the world, and there's that monkey on my back. So, yeah, so I made some poor choices, and addiction, to include alcohol, can really, really uh, deter you or detour you with life goals.
That was before you joined the military.
Yeah, so before I joined the military, I had this monkey on my back, right? And I kept making these poor decisions, couldn't hold down a job, try school, left school. I figured, 26, before I get too old, let me go do this Marine Corps thing because I wanted to enlist right after high school. but I never did. So I was struggling and floundering and these jobs that I wasn't happy with, and I knew I can do better. So I went in later on to 26 years old to the Marine Corps.
Okay. And what was that experience like? I know you're older and everything like that, but so did you struggle with that? I mean, or did you feel like you were older, but you couldn't show up because of the other everybody else was younger, I guess?
Yeah. No, interestingly enough, I outperformed a lot of the young men. I was like, in fact, if you know anything about the Marine Corps history, for those of you out there who know this, his name is Archibald Henderson. Archibald Henderson is known as the grand old man of the Marine Corps. That's
Mhm.
just history, right? So whether you know it or not. So because I was 26 and these young men are 17, 18, when we're running and they're passing out, I'm like, don't let this old man beat you. Don't let. So I would outrun them, do more pull-ups than them. Not everyone. I would be lying, but for the most of them, I had no problem with the physicality, with all of that, and the mind stuff. I already had that, but I did have some challenges when people were like, "Come on, man, you can't get it together, like you
Mm.
can't do the rack, like just stuff like that." In the military, when you're in boot camp, you pay for someone else's lack of cooperation. So those little things, I was struggling with those things. Like in the military, it's all about conform, it's all about unity, and with good reason.
Yeah, did you like I guess respond in a way where other people where you weren't conforming, right? Because you didn't like it, right?
Yeah.
Did you respond in a way that you got attention?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I got attention where I was speaking out of order when I shouldn't have. When I had a young man who was in charge. I mean, if you want to hear one, two stories, I can go and share that if you like.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So let's just say, fast forward, you have what's called the boot camp. We all know the boot camp, right? They shave your head, everybody conforms. But when you're in boot camp, especially, I can only speak to the Marine Corps culture. It's called the fleet. So you and the MOS stands for military occupational specialty. That's your MOS. That's your job. Like basically, if you're a cook, if you're a grunt, my MOS was 0311, which means a grunt. I'm an infantryman. So I'm in this unit. I'm in the field, meaning like the fleet, what's called. I'm excited. I finally got done, stopped playing those games of boot camps. Now I'm an actual Marine. Well, as we're transitioning, and I'm in San Diego, I'm sorry, I'm in California. I have a young man, but he's in charge of me. And I was falling asleep in the theater, and you're not supposed to fall asleep. So I fell asleep, and I got back up. He goes, Roman, I'll see you. And he was giving me the whole, I'm like, oh my God, yes, yes, Lance Corporal. Like I was a nobody and he was even more of a nobody, but he had the billet, right? So respect there. I go, yes. He goes, yeah, I want you to see me at my hatch, whatever. So after we're done, I'm like, I knock on the door. A Lance Corporal, it's, PFC Roman, which is like private, really. I get there, and he goes, come in. And then he tries to like be real tough. It got to the point where fast forward, I was like, close the door. And I was like, look, man, I'm 26 years old. I got two kids. I didn't sign up. And so now I'm just getting indignant. And I'm telling him, so I respect you. I respect you got your little rank, but I'm not having this. I said, you understand? Treat me like a man. I'm not here to play games. Well, I shouldn't have done that, right? So he I physically scared him, so he knew that wasn't going to go anywhere. But chain of command, he goes tells, and then they call me. So I had to be honest. I'm like, did you so and so? I said yes, and I apologize. I said I fell asleep. I'm sorry, but I don't understand why we're going to keep talking about it. You know. And he goes, well, Roman, you got to start pushing. And like in front of all, they had me pushing. Pushing me is get on the ground. They're going to make me pay for my disobedience. So I don't even know why I'm sharing this with you, but it's just I trust what shows up. This is when there's problems. I said, "Oh, you want me to push? Okay." I get on the ground. I start pushing, and every time I go down, I hit my stick. Blood's everywhere. I said, "Let me know when you want me to stop." Boom, one, two, and again, it just shows I already had some issues going in,
Mhm.
and triggers can happen in the military. So thank God I got out honorably. And I, I did lose some rank from time to time. Love my time in service, but yeah, I mean, these are some things, right? Wherever you go, there you are. So I had some unaddressed issues with authority, with anger, and going into a situation like people becoming policemen or anything in law enforcement. You got to really vet people like that, right? Because it can show up at certain times. And that's what you see a lot of times with veterans, who come out and they get triggered
Yeah, after the fact of going to war
after
and
the
all that
fact.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So so was this the turning point for you? Like a big turnaround joining?
Yeah, yeah, it was. It really let me know early on that, like, man, like I came here because, yeah, the benefits, yes, a steady paycheck, and I have a son and a daughter, and I, this is what I really need to be doing to be responsible man. I'm in my
Mhm.
20s, mid 20s, for God's sake. What's going on? You know? So it really was, because I recognized I can't just walk away. It's not like working at Target or somewhere, excuse me, again, with these, they're all respectful jobs, right? But this is, I couldn't walk away. I had to really conform and do a check in with myself. So my faith, I got anchored in my faith church. I started to really dial in more, because I faith was always a part of my life, but I started to dial in with some leaders, and went to off base, got into some faith church, and that really guided me.
What sent you on that path of faith, the faith journey?
Yeah, so in the military, man, um, if there's anything like, let's just say we're drinking, you and I, and it gets reported, they immediately begin to send you to AA, to substance abuse classes, because it's alcohol related. Like, there's just no playing around. And so it already, one or two of those situations were already surfacing, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So, it was a start. I wish I would have got it all then, but at least it helped me to get grounded and to look at the issues that I had, because I wasn't facing the issues. I wasn't addressing them. I was masking them. And as they say in the rooms of AA, one is too many and a thousand is never enough for someone like me.
Mhm. And so what let's go on your faith journey, right? So you wound up starting all that, and how you've been doing that ever since, right?
Yeah, so I grew up Catholic. So
Mhm.
I was, prior to the military. Remember, I was in my 20s. So I served in the Catholic Church for many years. I went to Catholic school. So faith has always been a part of my life. But there's days where, call it backsliding, or call it whatever, just not really committed.
Mhm.
And I paid the price, right? Because if I was sticking to my faith 100%, I wouldn't have put myself in the situation, made the decisions that I made. So it was a recommitment, if you will. So I recommitted myself, and it did make my time in service easier, as opposed to just being, going rogue and
Yeah.
being discharged dishonorably and all of that. So I'm grateful.
Right. So basically, if I can say that it helped you learn discipline and it allowed you that space and the opportunity to find faith in that, within the military, right? Whereas if you did not join, you would be on the outside probably and just wandering around maybe, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
because you know everything. You're the tough guy.
yeah, yeah, you get it, right? Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
the spiritual discipline really carried me over into other disciplines of my life. So yeah, I can do the fitness, the tough marine stuff. I can do all that.
Uh,
But again, they say success without fulfillment is failure. So you can look good on the outside, but if you're not feeling fulfilled in your faith life, in your marriage, in your job, everything else is going to fall apart fairly quickly. And that was part of what happened. I was in the military. While I was there, I got divorced. So my wife and I, again, that life, that those poor choices, pour me a drink, started catching up.
yeah. And so let's go to today, right? So
Yeah.
you've been on your faith journey and all that stuff. So what's your routine like that? What kind of ritual do you have?
Oh my God. I mean, my rituals, glad you asked.
Sure.
So, two things. I start right here. 5 things that I'm grateful for. If you don't mind, I like to to read what's
Go
today's date?
ahead.
What's
Today
today's date?
is the 4th, December
The
4th.
4th, right? So let me give you the Reader's Digest version. I didn't know I was going to come on here, and this is my opening up my world. But I begin with what I call the three P's, right? Keep it personal, keep it in the present, and I keep it positive,
Mm,
pretty much. So that those are that's I begin with gratitude, right? So that attitude sets me in the right directory. So I say directory direction.
that's alright.
I'm grateful for Jim's proposal. Thanked him, and then I just said something else there. Amen.
Mm,
So that was a business proposal that I got from someone, and so I was grateful. I didn't accept it, but I'm grateful that I received it. I'm grateful for my wife and her enthusiasm for family values and togetherness. You know, you met my wife, Daniela.
mm,
She's the glue, that keeps us together. There's days where I'm not feeling 100%. I'm on this journey, and you got to meet our good friend, 34 years sober. You got to meet him. He's a part of your world,
mm,
and it's always staying grounded in reading and keeping. That's my routine. Third one, I'm grateful for clarity in Jesus' name. I'm blessed for my health and love for life. Amen. See, this is all personal. This is what comes to mind, and so I keep it, and I'm honest with myself.
mhm,
And the last one, I'm grateful for the business partnerships. Amen. And every day is something different. Doesn't mean anything to anybody else, but when I've learned to be honest with myself and check in with myself, prior to coming on, my good friend, I asked my wife because I start to feel my energy. And here we are at 7:20 something. And I've been up since almost 5 o'clock. So I asked Daniela, hey, babe. And I asked her always at the inappropriate moment. She's hyper focused with something, but she knows my personality. She just gives me this look. I said, babe, give me some wins today. Give me some wins. And she looks at me, and because she knows that I'm leaning on her for something, like she knows that
mhm.
she's my anchor, and she'll say, "Well, we did this today, we did that," and I'm like, "Okay, all right, thanks," you know. And so those things, beginning anchoring my day, staying grateful, writing doesn't have to be a lot, but for me, that's the thing that keeps me away from making those poor decisions. Doesn't mean that I don't make them, but it
Mhm.
means I've got a lifeline, and boy, do I use it. You know, I lean on I lean on prayer, whatever it takes.
Nice. Now, you didn't always have this ritual, right?
Correct.
Did
Yeah.
you slowly progress to get to where you are now?
Yeah. Yeah. The spiritual discipline. I've developed the
Mhm,
spiritual discipline because I know what I've learned and what I've discovered is that things are created twice in life, right? They're
mm,
first created inside here, the head, the mind, whatever we want to call it, and then they're manifested, right? So that microphone that you have here, it didn't just pop up, right? It had to be created somewhere. So when I understand some of these divine principle laws, I start to realize bad behavior doesn't show up, right? It starts somewhere. It starts with thoughts, and thoughts, I believe, are things.
mm.
Like a thought is a thing. And if I let it move too much in my head, right? And I don't check myself, things happen. And uh, I'm preaching to the choir for some of those that know the Napoleon Hill that Think and Grow Rich, right? He talks about all of these things and how things are manifested. Our goals, our dreams, or lack of, they start with a thought.
They do. And I know the big thing in that book is, like, desire, like, that's the whole secret, right? Like, that's what you're supposed to
Yeah.
focus on, right? Um,
Hey, whenever you want to talk about that, I love talking about masterminds and how they got started. But yeah,
yeah, it sounds like another episode, I don't know.
yeah, man. I love this. Thank you.
No, no, this is great. So I want to share with you what I write what I'm grateful for. I know I do three of them. I don't do five. I don't have them in front of me to share, but so I always start off with I am so grateful God, right? Um, that's just something that's been s- just ingrained in me for a little while now. So I just start off with that and then just end it with whatever else. But that it took me a while to get to that point. Um, and so, like, when I'm talking to you and other guests and stuff, like, this is what I want. So, you sharing what you went through, you sharing what you're doing now to continue to go through what you're doing every day to make it brighter and a better day, depending on how it's going to go, you don't really know how it's going to go. You want to show up the best that you can and have that day be the best that it can. So sharing what you just shared now is a good way for people to start, right? Um, if they have to go to the military, so be it. If it's not for them and they go some other direction, that's what it's all about, right? And that's how we get to where we are today. So, I mean, I've gotten to know you within less than a year a lot, and we've
Thank you.
connected. Yes, yes, and we've connected so much. So I mean, would you mind just sharing like your progress? Like, so you left the military. Then what did you do then, right? And to
Yeah.
get to where you are today, and what was that kind of like?
Yeah. Amen. No, again, thank you for the question, the opportunity to again like share stuff. I This stuff that I'm sharing here is not something that I share on regular podcasts, right? Because I don't feel that same energy and I don't know them. But so you make me feel comfortable. We have a relationship. And something that I'll point out, our environment sets our standards. And so this is what happens with everyone, to include me. When you join the military, there's standards. They hold you up to the standard. And the only time that people have problems is when you go away and you start doing your own thing, right? So you got a lot of veterans that come in and they actually excel in an environment where you're being pushed and challenged. And the minute, Jonathan, they leave the military, oh, I can't wait to get up when I want to. Oh, I can't wait to, so people who don't re-enlist, they did their job honorably, and a lot of veterans after service really drop. They really lose their health, their finances, their marriages. Why is that? Because what we said, our environment sets our standards. No one's holding them to a standard anymore, Jonathan. And that's where you see a lot of the things. And for me, it was the same thing. So they challenged me. I got it together. I built a lot of great relationships. It was a little struggle. I conformed. I raised my standards, right? When you raise your standards, things happen. And so that's what you do so well within the Life Checks community is that you really, the Life Checkmark community, right? That you help people
Mhm.
to see themselves differently through podcasting. Their voice has impact, has influence, and they can earn an income from that. And you do that so well. And in the year that I've met you, that's been a thing that's drawn me and a lot of people in my community that you do it in such a way that inspires people because of your own story.
Well, thank you. So let's continue with yours though, right? So you
Yeah.
left, and then
Mhm.
you got so now where are you today? Like, what was that little journey like?
Yeah. So today, my good brother, I'm 55, right? So I I
So you're
joined the
still young.
military.
All right.
Yeah, yeah, right. So I went ahead, joined at 26, got out about what is it, 30 or 31. Got out, and so again, it was kind of almost like pre military, right?
Mm.
So had some challenges, joined the military, got it together. Then I went ahead and right after the military, I stayed in California, and while in the military, I got certified, and it was always a dream of mine to go ahead and do fitness training. So I got all the certifications. I got to work with some high level people. I got to work in gyms. So I really put my resources into training and fitness, and I got to work with some celebrities like Queen North Jordan. I got to work with players from Toronto Blue Jays, Houston Astros. So I did a lot of that, and I thought that that would be what I would be doing. But I got burnt out after 10 years after the military. I got burnt out, and I started to again lean once again on the bottle, and that created some more problems. So it's been this up and down, right? This ebb and flow of life, and finally today, because of the past 8 years with my beautiful and supportive wife Daniela, she's just helped me see life in a different perspective in my mid 50s, right? So we connected uh yeah, before my 50, because if I'm 55 now, so we met before, we've been together about 8 years now. And so just my whole 50s is my values system has changed versus me to oh wait, I have a wife. I can't go ahead and you know be selfish, right? This is us we got married in Hawaii, you
Nice.
know. And so you met my wife.
Mhm.
We get to travel. We both love to travel. So that's what I'm doing today. This is our picture from Virginia Beach, which by the way, we're all going to be in Virginia Beach for the mastermind with our community and your community members. So today I'm highly blessed and favored, man. And because it's community, people like you, people like Giselle, our good friend Giselle, who's been a big part of what we've been doing with Ready Writer community. So I'm latching on, and I'm telling anyone, if you have the opportunity, you are watching this, and you're not connected with Jonathan, you're not connected with the movement. Listen, when you are around good people, don't let them go. Lockstep and move forward with them.
Yes, I agree with that, right? And so it's been a journey of my own, just navigating through entrepreneur groups and other groups, and you know, you get so far with somebody, then you have to move it and gravitate with somebody else in a sense, right? And so you kind of look at, hey, I want to get there. Who do I meet? You know, who knows more than what I know in that area? Um, and ultimately, that's how my book became, right? You know, so I was in a couple anthologies, got in yours, and now I saw like the
Yeah.
format, and I'm like, okay, it's right there, and I just added a few more things to it. So um, it inspired me to finally make that push and that leap to make something happen for other people. Like that's my big goal. Is there anything else before I ask you a few other little quick questions, you know, that you would like to share with?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. You know, there's something, and I feel this is coming up because just the way you position the questions, anyone out there who's struggling, right? I think this is the most I've ever shared about my challenges with alcohol, but I really felt you brought that out of me with the great questions. So, in all honesty, if someone is watching this, I don't want them to gloss over it. There's something called HALT, and that's HALT, HALT. So, anybody watching this, please write that down. You learn this, and this has been a lifesaver for me. So, H is hungry, right? We get moody when we don't eat, which means we make poor decisions. And there's stories upon stories when groups of AA and sponsors, when if you know just even a working knowledge of when you have a sponsor in AA or any of these communities, it's someone who is kind of they, they have some experience, a little bit more. They're just one step or two ahead of you, and they agreed to help you, right, to stop drinking. So many times, sponsors have called up and it says, "Hey, you know, I'm going through this," and the sponsor would ask him a question: "Have you eaten today?" And they go, "No, I haven't eaten since last night." They, and they hang up. They said, "Call me when you put something in your belly." That seems like tough, right? Like this guy is about to go drinking, and so those stories like that really makes you think because once you learn that how important it is to check in with yourself, right? Make sure you've eaten, right? You're hungry. We do things. The A is angry. This was my biggest challenge, right? Like people pick up drinks. I made dumb decisions. I bought a Jeep. I always tell people the Jeep that I bought a Jeep because I was angry at my wife, Daniela, because she won't let me use her car. So I said, I'll fix her. I come back with a Jeep. And because I did that, and we talk about it to this day, she was like, "You should be listening to me." Right. I, I didn't do the proper protocol. I just saw the Jeep. I went to the dealer. They gave it to me because my credit, everything was fair. But I did this out of anger, and my brain wasn't locked into logical questions. So I ended up getting a used Jeep that already had 100 something thousand miles on it. It looked good on the outside, and I wound up paying for it. Right. So we make decisions when we're angry. So we got to check in with ourselves. That's why you see what I do. And the L is lonely. Isolation, my good brother. You got to you got to be a part of what you're doing. Uh, you can't isolate because you and me, we're as sick as our secrets. When you isolate, you're holding it. And the last one is tired. How many decisions, anyone out there, have you made poor decisions when you're tired?
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
This is why marketers understand this. That that's why at nighttime, remember, the infomercials,
Mhm.
they have a timer, and you're like, oh, and they're like, and it's like they know at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and now it's everywhere. But so you got to understand Yeah, you make poor decisions. So when you're faced with a desire to go drink or eat, whatever that vice is, halt. Think of halt. Hungry, angry, lonely, and tired.
Mm, interesting. I'm trying to think. So yeah, so I mean, real quick for me, it's been 3 years for me.
Mhm.
I don't want to say I was the heaviest drinker. I did drink, and I was starting to drink more as I was going through the divorce part.
Yeah.
Um, but then on the flip side, so my father passed when I was like 26, I think it was, and ultimately probably due to drinking because he had a bar, hung out with the wrong crowd. There could have been other things involved. I'm not sure, but I didn't want to go down that road, right? And so I stopped, not only for my health, but for the sake of the kids seeing, somebody else, drinking or whatever. And so that's why I chose to keep doing what I'm doing with not drinking anymore. And just show up myself. This is who I am. If you don't like me for who I am, then so be it. Like, you know what I mean? Uh, but yeah. And so I never heard of HALT. I mean, that's good. And so like, it's a good thing to remember. Um, but yeah, I just want to share that whoever is watching or listening, that just know that you matter, and if whether it's drinking or something else, like you can break away from it. I've met so many people along this journey of just podcasting that have opened up so many doors by just stop doing what they're doing. I know it's a struggle because it's an addiction, but you can get through it. And so that's why, people like yourself and then so many others, I'm glad that they open up and they share how they navigated through that. And most of them have like their own business and stuff on the side because they want to help so many more people. So that's why I enjoy doing what I'm doing. And I'm glad that you shared that because it's something else now I can share with other people if I ever come across somebody that's looking, to get help and it's just remember Holt, right? So yeah, that's a
Thank
good
you, brother.
yeah, it's a good tip. Because I had a few other people talking about drinking stuff too, but I never heard of that one. So Emilio, would you mind just sharing what you got going on right now? And you get your mastermind coming up in August
Mhm.
next year. Um, and then, I know you have books and stuff going on. So feel free to share whatever you have going on and how people can connect with you and how you can support them.
Sure, sure. And thank you again, Jonathan, for this opportunity. And so, what I'm going to encourage people, if you want to learn more about me and what I do, reach out to Jonathan. Reach out to Jonathan personally because this is his show, right? You can certainly go and watch me at emilioroman.com. But I can tell you that I'm very busy with projects and things like that. So, the best way to get a hold of me is to reach out to Jonathan so that he can connect you with me if you're interested, again, in writing a book, being a part of the certain anthologies. I encourage you to reach out to Jonathan for this anthology. I'm honored to do the forward, and there's a reason why I'm doing the forward. I've had the blessings to be in the Guinness World Record for one of the most authors signing a book simultaneously. We've published well over 500 authors, interviewed over 3,000. That's no exaggeration. Over 3,000 folks. It wasn't a podcast, it was a radio show that we had many years ago. And so I'm obsessed with success. And
Mm.
so, given my journey and my history, as I've shared openly here on your show, I was like, I want to know, like, what is it? How did someone overcome their addiction? How did they, when they've lost everything, bankruptcy, marriages, and they've come out to be on top? And so as I said earlier, I lean on to someone like you, Jonathan, who's doing great things, who's sharing his or her story. And again, reach out to Jonathan Emery if you want to connect directly with me.
Sounds great. And so I'll put all my information in the show notes and stuff and they can connect with me. Emilio, I just want to ask you one quick question. One last question I ask every guest, and I'm sure you listen to all my podcast episodes, right? So you already know it's coming. Um, what what are three key things you've learned and used along your journey?
Right. So let's see. So rephrase that again. I'm just
What
saying, what are three things?
yeah, what are three key things you've used along your journey?
Amen. So one of the things, shared pain is less pain,
Mm.
right? Whatever you're going through, don't keep it in. Remember, it goes to that halt, the isolation. So again, you will become sick. You're gonna make poor decisions. it's going to affect your health, and everything around you will deteriorate. So that's one of the things. If something's going on, you share it. And I understand that we've got to have standards, right? You've got to hold yourself to higher standards. And how do you do that? Your environment creates your standards. Get around a community again with John Emery, right? Life's Checkmark. Connect with us. Connect with Ready Writer Services. A young lady that we know, Giselle Quintanilla, she's doing great things in her community. And lastly, which really is the first one, is faith. So I can't here tell you what you prescribe to, but faith has gotten me through everything. When I look back, when I see that I was struggling and I came out of things, I'm like, how did I even? I know that my God carried me through, and He put the right people in the right places to support me.
Love it. I love it. Thank you, Emilio. This has been great. I'm so grateful that you came on. I'm grateful and that you shared this all with whoever's listening and who's watching this. So thank you.
Thank you, my good friend. And please, everyone, pick up a copy of this book. This book, I know, if you enjoyed the stories that I shared and the information, this book is filled of things like that with authors globally that you
Yeah.
can reach out to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Globally, woman in Greece has at the moment. So yeah, so much going on.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm so grateful that she's part of it. Right. And so that's the whole idea. It's just a combination of people come together with one goal in mind of, reaching those right people that need to hear it so they know they're not alone. Uh, yeah, read it, hear it, or watch it, whatever you want to do with this book. So, so thank you, Amelia. Appreciate
Thank you, my good brother. I'm sure you got an anthem coming out too, right? I'm sure you got an anthem for the book.
it.
Everybody seems to have an anthem.
I know. We'll get there. One thing at a time, man. I gotta go slow here. All
I
right.
love it. Love it. I love it.
I love it. All right.